So, Dr. Odon, could you please introduce yourself?
So my name is Dr. Akanimo Odon, and I wear multiple hats. You see, so what I guess I'm the director for Africa for Lancaster University in the UK.
Mm.
I'm also the chairman of the African Union Science Research and Innovation Congress in the UK. I'm also a board member of multiple organizations. I'm the president and founder of FlexLearn International. I'm also the chief executive of EnviroFly Consulting UK. So maybe I'll
Wow.
stop right there. As an individual, I'm somebody passionate about young people. I'm passionate about training, capacity building, transferring knowledge. I'm very
Mm.
passionate about living impact, especially along the dimensions of purpose, careers, and passions, which is, in some sense, the focus of today's interview. So that's me in a nutshell. I'm married to three kids,
Yes.
and
So,
that's on the family level. And I love traveling. That's it.
mm. Wow, I see that all the time on Facebook and LinkedIn. I see, oh, somewhere in Zambia, somewhere in Zimbabwe, somewhere everywhere, and that's why I will call you Mr.
Thank you very much.
Africa. So now, we can see that ChatGPT hasn't actually lied to us. That is who he
You
is,
know,
and many more.
interestingly, when you
So
were saying that,
now,
I actually did for the first time. I asked ChatGPT, who is Dr. Akane Odon, and he didn't do too badly. So that was very impressive to see.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, great. So what inspired you to focus on encouraging young people, especially Gen Zs, to pursue their
So the way I want to put it
passions?
is, it's a very very good question, because obviously, some people think about, if you watch what I do and how I do it, and you probably wonder, why do you do it? I've
Mm,
lost count how many times people have asked me, but Doc, you live in the UK. Like many folks who live in the UK just live in the UK and they vanish. But you live in the UK, but you travel all the time to Africa, and why do you have to bother? You know,
mm,
and I can get that. It doesn't make sense to many people. So the truth is, fact is driven by passion, which I'll speak about as we progress. Not only is it driven by passion, it's driven by passion that is triggered or founded on purpose. And there are two different dimensions to that. And
mm,
understanding those dimensions makes your life really easy to see what drives you. Talking about why am I passionate about supporting young people when it comes to passion? That's because I suffered what most young people are suffering right now. Okay. I
mm,
spent 4 years of my life in university doing a course in zoology, the study of animals. And if you ask
mm,
me right now, many, many years afterwards, I don't do anything remotely zoological in my career. Okay. Maybe just saying hello to some cats and dogs when I travel. That's about it, really. So, but why is that important though? Is because as I travel around in my job, I do travel quite a lot, and I visit many universities, colleges, and professional bodies, and so on. I started picking up a specific set of if you like, data and specific behavioral patterns that was really troubling. And I'll break it down for just very briefly. So first and foremost, I loved writing. So my passion to do what I do comes from the fact that I suffered what most young people are suffering, and so I now understand what I did to get it right, and so it does make sense, therefore, to make that knowledge and
mm.
information available to others. So now I studied zoology, University of Benin, even though I wanted to
Yeah.
study medicine, but that's a topic for another day. But I remember that since my year one, I love writing. I absolutely love writing. I can't explain why I love writing. I like the idea of playing with words. So when I put two or three words together, it's fun. I remember then, as young as possible, when I hear a rap song, what excites me most, in some cases, it's not even the rap or the rhythm, is a rhyming pattern. How can somebody put a song together and all the words end with similar sounds? That for me was fascinating. Now, I'm saying this intentionally because I like people to begin to understand what passion comes from.
Mm,
It comes from a place you can't understand why you like this thing. That is the initial premise of
yeah.
something you will be potentially passionate about. I love words. I'll put words together. You know, when I used to hear words back in Nigeria, then they say, when I aspire to aspire,
Mm,
when I aspire to aspire, to acquire a desire you admire and require. I feel like,
mhm.
wow, this is cool. And when you have a vision, there is a mission. What you need
Mm.
is a function, an inspiration to set the vision for your mission in motion. Wow.
Mm.
But look at the point here. I spent 4 years in the University of Benin doing
Mm.
a bachelor's degree in zoology. And never at any point in time did I actually go to the Department of English and Literature. Not for a visit, not even once. Because a university, especially the culture, has put you in a bubble and in a box that it's okay. Well, you came to study mathematics, so stay in mathematics. Did you
Mm.
realize that there is no regulation or rule? And I've checked this, by the way, that precludes you from interacting with other departments within the university as long as you've paid your fees.
True.
Isn't that interesting? You can literally go walk into any class on campus and sit down there and nobody will drive you away. If you're trying to be a nice student, you can actually go approach a lecturer and say, "Sir, professor, I am a student in chemistry, but I love business. Is it okay, sir, if I just come down, sit down in your class when you're having lectures? In fact, you won't even know I'm there. I'll be at the
Mm.
back." You know, I've asked many professors this, and guess what they told me? Many of them told me that that student will be their best student because that is the only student they are sure wants to be in that class. They're not supposed to be there.
Mm.
So I spent 4 years loving something, but not actually following it up at all. Now, guess what happened? Then, as I was writing little by little, and then guess what? In my second year, I remember very clearly, my lecturer in the Department of Zoology was going to have his wedding. And he heard that I write poetry. So he said, "Hey, Akan, can you write me a customized poem to deliver like an oration in his wedding?" And guess what? He paid me for it. I was in 200 level. So I asked for many information about his wife, about him, how they
Mm.
met. And I put a poem together and I went to his wedding. It was a special section. It was only 5 minutes. And I presented this poem that I'd written for his wedding and I got a massive ovation. And he paid me. I can't remember how much it was. But for me as a young person, I was like, so somebody can pay me
Make
for
money.
writing poetry, which took me literally 1 hour to write. He didn't know that. I wrote it
Mm.
in less than an hour. Then guess what? Guess what? So all this is building up a narrative in my mind.
Yeah.
So when I graduated, obviously I'm working now. I visited the same University of Benin, and I was addressing a room of about 200 or more final year students. Okay. And I remember asking them a question. The question was, so all your final year students, you're about to graduate, they say yes. I said, okay, well, when you leave university, or first and foremost, are you currently studying a course you love?
Mm.
Guess what? Oh, almost maybe I don't know, maybe over 70 or 80% of them, over 80% said they're studying a course they don't like.
Mm.
Then I said, okay, well, since you are already in your final year anyway, you're about to graduate. Okay, do you have a sense of what you might want to do when you graduate? I can never forget. Only about 5 hands went up.
Wow.
Really? So you have spent 4 years doing a course and you are going into the world of work and you have no clue what you are going to do. But guess
Mm.
what? I've asked the same students this question. How many of you have something you love doing, which you really love? The numbers are usually very, very high. So that means that if I reverse the question and I said, how many of you, if you had spent time developing your passion for 4 years while doing this course you don't like, how many
Mm.
of you might have a sense of what you might want to do with your passion? I can assure you the numbers will be a lot more.
Yeah.
Because passion is something you like.
Mm.
Or else it's not passion. Okay? Now, to narrow it even further, now I started asking, I think I asked a room of about 100 young professionals. So these are professionals who have graduated and set up their own companies, like SMEs, small companies. And I remember the day I asked, so all of you have your own company? Say yes. Say, how many of you set up your company based on your cost of study? Less than 5%.
Wow.
And I said, how many of you set up your company based on an interest or a passion of yours? 75%, above 75%. So I'm painting this picture So you can understand the disconnect. Okay, so but the trouble is this: many people have that passion, but if you now ask them, so how many of you have done anything or a course of study of some sort about this passion of yours? The number drops back to 5%. So it's all these scenarios of meeting young people across many African countries that are saying, my goodness, we have a problem. It's a crisis, and nobody's speaking about it. It's an absolute crisis. And you keep wondering, well, I mean, do you know that the African Development Bank says that half of the over 400 million young people in Africa are either unemployed or vulnerably employed. Half over 400 million African young people. But you know what? The reason is because that index or that data is aligned to a course or a work. The data will be different if the focus was on the passion. So anyway, so I hope I have answered your question. This is what inspired me to focus on this because it's a problem. Many people have grown up, currently working. I remember when I wrote my first book, or one of my first books, The Gratitude Code. This is the book. And interestingly, the premise of this book is this. And the premise says, in every professional, there is a student wanting to learn. And in every student, there is a professional waiting to earn. So fundamentally, what it's saying is, the more successful students are students who start behaving like professionals while they are studying. In the same vein, the most successful professionals in real life, look anywhere, are professionals who behave like students while they're professionals, because they're always learning and getting better at what they do. So there's a massive disconnect there, such that you better get aligned and pursue your passion, because it's a matter of time it's going to catch up with you.